Do you have a favorite toy from childhood that still brings a smile to your face? Was it Barbie or Hot Wheels, maybe? Or maybe Lego stole your imagination? Whichever brand it was, chances are you wouldn't mind going back in time and playing with them again. Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Nur Shamira Saizan binti Muhammad Sayuti, and today I would like to share about the Lego's turnaround. Lego blocks originated in the Billund, Denmark, workshop of Ole Kirk Christiansen, who began making wooden toys in 1932, just simple wooden toys like this wooden duck. 2 years later, he named his company Lego after the Danish phrase leg God, G-O-D-T. Well, if you figure out some of the letter, it will have L-E-G-O, and there is the name come from. It means play well. In 1949, Lego produced its first plastic bricks precursor to its signature brick with interlocking studs on the top and tubes on the bottom. It was patented in 1958 by Christiansen's sons, Godfred Kirk, who replaced his father as the head of the company. For the first time in 13 years, Lego has reported a decline in revenue and profit. The 85-year-old Danish toy manufacturer released their annual financial results for 2017, and the bricks didn't exactly fall into place. In 2007, the company, which sells 75 billion bricks annually, saw their profit fall 17% and revenue drop 8%, breaking their 13-year growth streak, over which revenue increased by an average of 15% annually. The report comes on the heels of some big management changes, a decision to cut 1.4K employees, which is 8% of their global workforce back in September, and an overproduction issue that forced Lego to sell off its bricks at a steep discount to make room in their warehouses. Lego stumble marks the first time since 2003 that the company's revenue and profits declined, and that time they nearly went bankrupt. How did they overcome becoming just a memory in the lives of their faithful fans? They didn't just stop doing one or two things. They sold off every part of their company that wasn't an integral brick to their core product. They sold their 4 theme parks to a Merlin Entertainments Group, which is a company that specialized in running theme parks. They sold their video game development division to be handled by outside partners under a Lego license, and shortened product development from 2 years down to 1 year. Starting in 2005, they started to climb out of debt, and in 2011, they brought in nearly $710 million in income and have become the most profitable and fastest growing company in the toy industry. They also started to target another previously untapped market and began connecting with them. Adult fans of Legos, Uffles, account for nearly 10% of their yearly sales. Granted, it is not a huge piece of the pie, but a large enough share that deserves attention. Popular conventions like FreakCon in Seattle, Washington, are where Lego fans young and old can go and check out thousands of models created by Lego hobbyists from around the globe. Lego knows how important these customers are to their brand, and instead of just saying thanks, they recruit the most passionate adults to serve as ambassadors and consult on new and upcoming product lines. In the late 90s, Lego made an ill-advised decision to diversify away from colorful bricks and into dolls, clothes, and books. The move resulted in the company's first non-family member CEO, Jørgen Vig Knudstorp, taking the reins. Knudstorp restructured Lego from the brink of collapse by cutting thousands of jobs, cutting the number of bricks produced in half, and bringing the focus back to the company's old-school products. Between 2010 and 2015, Lego's profit doubled. The company opened a massive Chinese factory and, at one point, had to scale back advertising because demand was too high. Turns out, the growth was supernatural. The company grew too aggressively, and last year, when sales leaked in Europe and North America, they found themselves left with warehouses full of excess bricks, which in turn limited their ability to roll out new products. Before, we heard the Lego Group was near bankruptcy. Many of its innovation efforts, such as Theme Park, Click Kids Craft Set, which is marketed to girls, an action figure called Glider, supported by a television show, were unprofitable or had failed outright. Today, as the overall toy market declines, Lego's revenues and profits are climbing up 19% and 30% respectively in 2008. Central to Lego's turnaround is a new structure for strategically coordinating innovation activities led by a cross-functional team, the Executive Innovation Governance Group. Lego managers take a broad view of innovation that includes not only new products but pricing plans, community building, business processes, and channels to market, all of which can be powerful business drivers. The company distributes responsibilities for innovation in all areas across four groups and expects different degrees of innovativeness from each of them. So, how exactly did Lego succeed in making one of the biggest brand comebacks of all time? There are three things that they did well, really well. First, they regained their focus. Believe it or not, there is such a thing as too much innovation, and Lego is proof of that. Before their near demise, the brand began creating many different products, some of which were successful, but many of which were not what their core audience was interested in. In 2001, Jürgen Wignerstock, a former management consultant at McKinsey & Company, came on board and took over as CEO of Lego. He insisted that Lego must go back to the brick and focus on its core products. He reduced the number of different pieces that Lego manufactured from 12,900 to 7,000. Second, they found new markets to dominate. With everything going digital, Lego had to find a way to adapt. By breaking into the toys-to-life market, or video games where physical action figures interact with those on screen, Lego was able to stay relevant while still remaining true to itself and its purpose. Third, they got to really know their audience. One reason that Lego nearly went bankrupt was because they lost sight of who their target audience was. They made unfounded assumptions, hastily innovating and creating without really researching beforehand to find out if that was what their audience actually wanted. Once Lego leaders started taking the time to really understand their audience, they were able to get things back on track. One way that did that was by hiring adult funds to handle the design of their products. They also held ethnographic studies to find out how kids around the world actually like to play. In doing so, they were able to create products that their audience truly valued. The lessons gained from the Lego's bankruptcy are: first, maintain your focus. As your brand grows, don't stray from what made it successful in the first place. Remember that many times less is more. Second, time change. Sometimes your brand must too. Find a way to stay relevant while still remaining true to your brand identity and purpose. And the last one, don't assume that you know what your audience wants. Perform research to find out. As former CEO Knut Stopp once said, we need to constantly become better, or otherwise there will be someone out there who will catch up to us. Lego's story is proof that in order for a brand to survive, its leaders must constantly ask why. They must continuously question the brand's trajectory and dig deep to really understand what's working and what's not working. They must realize that control, not unbridled innovation, is the answer. If they do that, then the sky is the limit.